Hello and welcome to another video, just off the top of my head because I can't hold it in. Yeah, that's a series, I think, now that I am screaming about things because I can't contain it anymore. Welcome. Today we're talking about the Winchester brothers because I have maybe started this like in a month now, or maybe even less, and I'm already on season 4. So I guess you could say that I don't have a life anymore. I don't have any more hobbies. I'm just watching the hell out of this show. And it's stolen my life. So I thought, you know what we should do? We should talk about it because I feel like it's so genius. Not that it's like underrated or anything. It's perfectly loved, but I still felt like talking about it. So I know maybe a lot of kids my age, like my generation, maybe haven't watched it because it's so long. It's 15 seasons. Yeah, it's a lot to commit to, but I'm pretty sure that it's worth it. So, if you haven't heard about it, or if you have and you're just like trying to have fun with it again, um, let's do some praise for this show because I've been giggling and kicking my feet, but also like crying my eyes out while also being a little bit scared for the past few weeks, and I cannot. So, yeah. So, the story of Supernatural follows this family who are pretty much happy until one night the mommy walks into the nursery of their young child, their young son, who's like 6 months old, and sees this figure, this man, kind of standing above their child. And before she can do anything, and before her husband can come running, this person, you know, kills the mom. And so their dad, knowing that whoever did this was kind of a supernatural creature, turns into this hunter who goes city to city, state to state, just looking for these creatures and hunting them down in the hope of one day finding the creature that killed his wife. And so 22 years later, we follow their sons, who are also hunters. Well, not both of them. No, okay. So Dean, the firstborn, is also a hunter, and Sam is kind of just living his life like a normal life, going to college and stuff like that. But then one day, Dean comes knocking the door and be like, "Hey, Sam, so our dad went to this hunting trip and I haven't heard of them in like a few weeks. We should go look for him." And Sam's like, "No, like it's dad's thing. He goes and he disappears. I'm not leaving." And Dean's like, "No, listen, this must be serious because he does go disappear on us. Yes, he does that. But it's been too long this time, and I really feel like he's in trouble, so we need to go and blah, blah, blah." And so their journey begins. Mm, love. I love, 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 love this show for a number of reasons. The first reason being the character arcs being so flawless. Like it's so good. Ugh. So we're mostly following these two brothers, who kind of have very different personalities. Um, and the way they're written, it's like it's so well thought out. Dean is a complete other person that does not feel like a fictional character. They both feel like real life characters who have been through trauma, through maybe, daddy issues, grief, and stuff like that. And now they're trying to like work their way through it, but together. I love them so much. So Dean, being the firstborn, is obviously feeling responsible for everything, is a little bit bossy. But on the inside, he has a lot of trauma because their dad hasn't really been around growing up. The way he raised his kids was the most unhealthy thing you could find on the planet. Like, he wasn't abusive or unkind or anything. He was mostly just not around much and raised Dean from like being 4 years old to be the dad. He forced him kind of to grow up too fast, to always be there for Sammy, and he practically doesn't have a life anymore. And he's literally just torn between, oh, I have to listen to my dad, whatever he says. Oh, I have to find this creature that killed my mom. But oh, I also have to like look out for Sam. I have to keep the family together because we've already lost too much, and I just can't let like these are like swirling in his head. On the other hand, Sam is like this little brat who just doesn't understand what his brother is going through because he himself is going through a lot of shit. Because he was 6 months old when his mother died, and so he doesn't really feel a lot of grief towards her. The grief he is feeling is that he never had a childhood, he never had a dad, because something happened before he was even conscious as a human being, and now he's paying for it, which is like understandable, but what can you do, you know? And so he's kind of struggling to be his own person, and just making sure that Dean understands that he doesn't have to control everything, he doesn't have to be responsible for everything, and most of all, he doesn't have to always look out and protect Sam because he's trying to be his own person. But obviously, Dean doesn't understand that because from a very young age, he was the only person who was there for him. So these two have a lot of unhealthy attachments to each other, which makes it so real. And so the more you progress into the story, this kind of unhealthy attachments come into play and justify the things they do, the very stupid decisions they make throughout the plot. And so that's how the plot goes on. It's definitely one of the things that I don't see a lot anymore in more new shows, especially on Netflix or like anything else, because they don't get a lot of screen time. They have to jam everything they have in like 8 hours. You can't do that. That's what happened with Avatar. That's what happens with a lot of their shows, is because you don't have the time to hang out with these characters, to get to know them, to even be able to know what they're going to do in a certain situation because you know them so well. No, the only, like, you see action after action after action, and even when they try to like make you know this character, it's through dialogue in like 3 minutes on an episode. It's not gonna work. But with Supernatural, one thing about it is that it's really long. You have enough time to get to know these characters, to not always follow their plot lines, but also side plots, side quests, just to give you more time to get to know them, to hang out, to just, you know, laugh. Supernatural is like a really serious show, even though it's about ghosts and fairies and stuff like that. But it's serious on its own because it's covering serious themes through ghosts and demons, which is like, I love it. But also, it's very serious, and most of the times you're just crying. If you're like me, at least. If you're like me, you're crying a lot, but if you're not like me, you're definitely gonna be sad and emotional many times throughout this show. It's basically one of the things that I didn't see coming. Like, I knew I was gonna be invested and like have a lot of fun, but mostly I thought I was gonna be scared or just excited. No, this show will ruin your life. I think sometimes it just rips out my heart and just breaks it and then puts it back into my chest. It's a lot to handle. But the thing is, even with its seriousness and being heavy, it also has the time to give you lighter episodes when you're just like laughing so much. Like, I was telling my friend, I think it was season two, that I was watching this episode and this episode was so wild. I was just on the edge of my seat. I was so scared for these people's lives. Like, it was so intense. And then I went to the next episode and these two were fighting like normal siblings over like their computers or over being messy and sharing a room. And I was telling my friend that, look at this. Like, one episode I'm crying my eyeballs out, and the other one I am laughing because these two are siblings, and sometimes they're just siblings, and they're normal kids. And I really think that that's just genius writing because when it's just intense after intense episode, you just stop caring, I guess. But if you have the time to just like see them vulnerable, see them normal, see them fight, like stuff like that, when they're actually in danger, you are gonna cry yourself to sleep. And I just love that, to be honest with you. One other thing that I just really personally love about this show is that the stakes are very high. Even though you're kind of sure that they're gonna like make it out alive, they're gonna survive anyways because 15 seasons, yeah, they're not gonna die anytime soon. But the thing is, you still don't know how they're gonna survive because the stakes are high. Like, when you feel like, oh, I have this solution, obviously, they're gonna be like, oh no, that solution, no, 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 off the table, no. So you're constantly thinking, how the hell are you gonna survive this time? I love that. Like, it's the ride for me. It's the journey, not the destination. Also, just quick shout out to every single character that steps into this one because they're mostly gray characters and sometimes even the main characters kind of have to do black stuff, so it makes them also gray. I love it. I love it so much. And every single character, like today, I started watching season four, and Castile just walked in, and I could not, like, I was screaming. I love him so much. The characters are so well written. I cannot. I'm gonna stop screaming and probably just go watch more of it because I can't stop apparently. And just leave you to it. Let me know what you think. And if you're a fan of the show, also, let's just hang out, shall we? I'm also not going to talk about how hot these brothers are, and probably one of the reasons I love them so much. Because that would be unprofessional and just not cool to say on camera. So I'm not going to say that they're hot and I love them. Definitely not. Okay?